Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are jumping into something pretty mind-bending, actually. We're asking this question. What if our biology, our very makeup, isn't just about life here on Earth? What if it's actually designed for, well, connecting with the cosmos? Like, what if contact isn't just something we hope for, but something we are literally genuinely built for? Our source for this is a piece called DNA Dialogues, Why You're Built for Contact. And it really challenges, the standard view of our bodies and where we fit in the universe. So our mission today is to dig into the really surprising ideas in this source, see what shakes out.
Exactly. And the source, it's not just throwing ideas out there, it's proposing a real shift in thinking. It suggests our bodies aren't just biological machines, but more like communication devices, really sophisticated ones. We'll get into these claims it makes that our DNA is like a galactic invitation or a resonance key. The idea is we have this built-in active connection, way beyond what mainstream science usually talks about.
Right, and this is where I think it gets super interesting for you listening. Think about those weird urges you might get sometimes. That sudden pull to just stare up at the stars. Or maybe you tear up for seemingly no reason. Or feeling connected to nature, like wanting to talk to trees even. What if that's not just you being quirky? What if the source is right and that's actually a biological response, something coded deep inside you? Okay, let's dive in. So let's really unpack this main claim first. DNA Dialogues jumps right in, saying your body isn't just biology, it's a galactic invitation. It calls our DNA a resonance key and a code. It's way more than just the blueprint for making us right.
It really is. And what's fascinating is how it tackles what science often calls junk DNA. The parts we didn't really understand the function of. Well, this source gives it a new name, contact DNA. The argument is that these bits, these sections we couldn't explain, actually have a huge purpose. A purpose tied directly to, well, cosmic connection, communication.
Wow, okay, so shifting from junk to contact DNA, that's a big leap.
It is. It reframes it completely, from basically useless bits to something vital, something communicative. And this resonance key idea suggests our DNA isn't just building our bodies, it's also tuning us, like an antenna. Tuning us to specific frequencies, maybe, allowing us to receive signals, perhaps even send them. Like we each have a unique vibrational signature.
Okay, like a biological antenna.
Yeah.
Tuned for cosmic frequency. That's pretty wild.
Yep.
And the source then says something even more direct, especially for people interested in this stuff. It says, most people only activate a small percentage of it, referring to this contact DNA. But then it says, for people like you listening, you've already begun the sequence. What does that mean? How does just being curious start this activation?
Yeah, that's a key point. It suggests this potential isn't dormant in the way we might think. It implies our capacity for this connection, for sensing these wider frequencies. It's already there. It's encoded in us. It's inherent. And beginning the sequence, it seems to suggest that your awareness, your curiosity, your willingness to even consider these ideas, that acts like the trigger. It's like your conscious focus starts to wake up these parts of your DNA, makes you more receptive.
So it's not passive. Our attention, our intention, actually plays a role in activating this biological potential.
Precisely. It turns us from just, products of evolution into active participants in our own, maybe, cosmic development, our unfolding.
That is a really profound idea. So if we have this contact DNA, this antenna we're starting to activate, how does that link back to those feelings we talked about? The urge to look at stars, the sudden tears, talking to trees. The source says that's not weird. That's a biological response to frequency. It gives those feelings a whole new context, doesn't it? What kind of frequency are we talking about here?
Well, it introduces this concept of cellular memory responding. The phrase used is, your body remembers the sky. And it doesn't seem to mean just an emotional thing. It sounds deeper, like a biological echo, a memory stored in our cells.
Cellular memory, like our cells recognize something ancient.
That seems to be the idea. Like our biological receivers, maybe this contact DNA, are picking up subtle energies, frequencies, not necessarily sound, but maybe vibrations from stars, maybe other dimensions, who knows? Collective consciousness even. So when your cells remember, it's like a resonance, a genetic echo of where we came from maybe, and that triggers a physical response.
And the examples it gives are so specific. The chills you get, that feeling in your chest, the tears when you see a shooting star. It presents these not just as feelings, but as actual physical events, manifestations of this cellular memory kicking in.
Exactly. The source implies these aren't just metaphors. Those chills, that could literally be your cells vibrating in response to an incoming frequency, like hitting a tuning fork. And the tears, maybe not sadness, but release. a biological acknowledgement of recognizing something incredibly deep, a connection being felt.
So it reframes these common, often dismissed experiences. They become biological signals, indicators of this underlying connection.
Right. It suggests they're not random noise. They're signals from our own biology, pointing towards something much bigger, maybe guiding us, even if our conscious mind doesn't quite get it yet.
It really gives you permission to trust those feelings more, doesn't it? To see them as data. Okay, let's shift a bit. Let's talk about CE5. Many listeners might know that term close encounters of the fifth kind. Usually involves human-initiated contact efforts, right? Meditation, intention.
Yes, that's the common understanding. Protocols to try and initiate contact.
But DNA Dialogues puts a totally different spin on it. It says CE5 isn't just a method, it's a mirror. What does that mean? A mirror.
That's a really crucial redefinition in this source. Normally, you think of CE5 as reaching out, trying to get a response, calling out into the void almost.
Yeah, like asking for something to happen.
Exactly. But calling it a mirror flips that completely. The source clarifies, when you reach out, you're not asking for something. You're remembering who you already are. So the connection isn't something you create externally. It suggests the link is already there. It's innate, unbroken.
So the CE5 experience is reflecting back our own inherent nature.
That seems to be it. It reflects your own cosmic identity back to you. It's less about summoning something external and more about your internal state, your resonance, aligning with something that's already part of you, part of the network.
Okay, so it's an internal shift, not an external plea.
Yeah.
The source really emphasizes this internal role. It says, you're not preparing for contact, you're stabilizing your signal, and you're not hoping they'll hear you. They already do. Stabilizing your signal. That's interesting. What does that involve? And why the certainty that they already do hear us?
Well, the certainty seems to come from that core idea. The connection was never actually severed. It's just maybe obscured by our everyday noise, our conditioning. So stabilizing your signal sounds like practices that help you tune in. Quieting the mental chatter, raising your own vibration, maybe through meditation or being in nature, cultivating that open awareness.
Ah, okay. So you're clearing the static on the line.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
You're allowing your innate resonance key, your contact DNA, to broadcast more clearly. You're not building a radio tower. You're just tuning the radio you already have. And the idea that they already do hear you suggests this constant background communication. A field of consciousness, maybe, where our thoughts, intentions, our very activated DNA are constantly putting out signals, and others attuned to that field can perceive them.
That changes everything, from seeking contact to just recognizing connection. It really fits with that line. You were never cut off. You were only tuning back in.
It does, doesn't it? It suggests we've just forgotten or been taught to ignore this inherent connectedness.
It gives you a sense of belonging, in a way. Not being alone in the universe.
Absolutely. It paints a picture where humanity isn't this isolated anomaly, but deeply woven into a huge cosmic tapestry. And that idea, never cut off, it really challenges how we often see ourselves separate, maybe central, but definitely separate. This suggests an unbroken link, like a cosmic umbilical cord. Our job isn't to forge it, but just to become aware of it again, to participate.
Remembering our galactic lineage, as you said earlier. I like that.
Yeah, it reframes identity itself. Not just earthbound, but maybe multidimensional, cosmically connected.
So pulling this all together, the source gives some very simple, practical advice based on these big ideas. It says, the next time you feel the pull to look up, to meditate, to sit in stillness under the stars, do it. Just do it.
It's not just presented as like general wellness advice. It's framed as something much more significant.
How so? What's the deeper meaning there?
Because the reason it gives is, that's not random. That's your code calling, and they're waiting. So those pulls, those inclinations looking up, seeking stillness, aren't just random thoughts or moods. According to this, they're signals from your own contact DNA. Your internal resonance key is pinging. It's an invitation from your own biology.
You're code calling. Wow.
Yeah, it's like your system is saying, okay, time to tune in, time to receive, maybe transmit. It's your biological design activating, and they're waiting. That implies a receptive presence out there, ready for when your signal clears up, when you consciously engage.
So those simple actions become deliberate acts of tuning, of aligning with your own cosmic nature.
That seems to be the essence of it.
So what does this all mean for us then? For you listening? I mean, this deep dive into DNA dialogues, it's more than just interesting ideas, isn't it? It feels like an invitation, a prompt to seriously reevaluate how we see ourselves, our experiences, our place in the universe, seeing ourselves not as isolated specks, but as active parts of a huge cosmic conversation, just by being alive. by being aware. So just to wrap up the core takeaway from this deep dive into DNA dialogues, we've looked at this really radical idea that our biology, especially this contact DNA, might actually be designed for connections way beyond Earth, and that these connections show up as those deep, sometimes strange feelings and urges we experience.
Yeah, and it encourages you really to view those gut feelings, those intuitive hits, those emotional waves, not as random static, but as real signals, meaningful information coming from your own cellular memory, your activated DNA, guiding you back to a connection that's always been there. It's about listening to your body's wisdom, but on a potentially cosmic scale, trusting that inner compass.
So here's a thought to leave you with, something to chew on as you go about your day. What if the most profound contact isn't actually about finding something out there, something external we're trying to reach? What if it's really about acknowledging and activating a deep resonance that's already within you, part of your fundamental design? What if you are the signal, just waiting to be fully tuned in? Thank you for joining us on this pretty cosmic deep dive today. We'll catch you next time on The Frequency.